than anything they've ever done. And maybe I'm just being an overcritical douchebag, and I freely admit that I am. And again, that's why I'm thinking if Airbourne is hearing this review, they're going, oh, piss off, you douche. You know, but just here's my thoughts. Like, to your point, Breaking Out of Hell, a very different sounding Airbourne song. I mean, it's still Airbourne, but it is a little different there. And to me, and this is where we'll totally disagree, I thought Rivalry was boring, actually. But then
you're insane.
Yeah, there was nothing about it that made me go, oh, okay, it's not terrible, but I just don't think it's that good at all. Whereas Get Back Up could easily, that's the track after Rivalry, Get Back Up could easily be like a new AC/DC track. I mean, you would mistake it for that. Great song. And, you know, it's just funny. I mean, it's just lyrically, you know, it's so much, you know, the next track is It's Never Too Loud for Me. Here are some of the lyrics. You know, oh, rock and roll ain't no crime. It ain't nothing but a good, good time. My ears are ringing, but I keep singing. It's never too loud. It's never too loud for me. I mean, if that is not cliche AC/DC lyrics, which there's nothing wrong with.
Yeah, didn't you just say you wanted a party band?
I did, and I'm not saying that, but there's just nothing more to it than that. I just, you know, it's very...
It's Airbourne. There shouldn't be more to it than that.
But I guess maybe I'm not saying that what I'm saying is fair here, but it's just, to me, it's safe. It's good. There's 11 tracks on the album, 7 of which are pretty damn good. The rest, there's a couple tracks, Rivalry being one, where I'm like, it's okay. I mean, to me, this is a stream-only like album. You know, like, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not great.
Okay, didn't you just criticize them for not growing in their lyrics and still being a little immature in their lyrics, going from their third to their fourth album? Didn't you just make that criticism?
I'm not even saying their third or their fourth. I mean, just from day one. It's just, again, it's not bad. It's just... It's safe.
How many times have you seen Steel Panther live?
Twice? 3 times? One of the two.
Fuck off. I mean, you know, you want to talk about lack of maturity. I mean, it's rock. It's metal. It's rock. It's fun. It's not. Look, Airbourne is like that, kind of like that hot slut down the street.
But
there's not much.
I'm not even saying that, dude. I'm talking safe, not even lyrically. I mean, I think you're focusing way too much on the lyrics here. I mean, there's a lot of double entendre, AC/DC, you know, do me like you do yourself. I'm going down on you. You know, I mean, that whole, I mean, you know, that's what that is. And that's fine. I'm accepting it for what it is. Steel Panther lyrically is as immature as anybody, but you know that going in. And I'm not saying Airbourne's any different than that.
And you don't know that about Airbourne?
But I'm saying even musically. You keep talking about the damn lyrics, dude. I'm talking the music.
You brought it up.
No, but I'm just talking the music part of things. It's just very safe. That's all. Where even Steel Panther, even if you rip them lyrically, musically, they got stuff going on all over the place that's totally different from track to track, and it just doesn't sound like it all blends together. And I think a lot of this stuff on this album, like previous Airbourne albums to me, and maybe it's just getting a little stale, just kind of blends together, and it's good. It's just not something that I'm going, hell yes, Airbourne continues to rule. It's good, not great. It's good. That's all.
Okay. So what'd you give it?
I gave it a 7 out of 10. Jesus Christ. You think I'd you just ripped on your mom or something. My God. Anyway.
No, it was just a criticism. That was always is where it was coming from. And I was just trying to really, figure out what it was that you were expecting out of an Airbourne album.
No, I was expecting a good album that was just, and you know what? Maybe it's because we talked about this in the last episode of the show, where they bring in a producer that they handpicked that was flown in to Australia to do it on their turf, on their terms, blah, 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 blah. It didn't make a damn bit of difference. It's the same sounding crap, and that's not bad.
Wait a second. You just said in your criticism that they went off and did something a little bit different, and you're going to criticize them for that. But now you're saying that it's exactly the same thing they've always done.
No, I said that, well, first of all, when I started the review, I said that I admit that I'm being douchey here by saying that I'm the kind of metalhead fan, at least in this review, who's knocking them for not trying something a little bit out of their comfort zone and kind of maturing as a band, but then also not, sounding like the Airbourne that I'd always come to know and love. I admit that I'm, self-contradicting in that way. But unfortunately, a lot of times when it comes to metal especially, that's how it is. People hate AC/DC, some of them, because it's the same sounding song for 30 years. Just like some people love AC/DC because it's the same reliable kick-ass song you've heard for 30 years. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
Point taken.
There you go. Anyway, that was Breaking Out of Hell from Airbourne. And by the way, this review, if this is the first time listening to the show, shame on you. These are the kind of reviews that we Biv and I have not had one discussion about the 9 reviews we're about to do. Not one bit of conversation other than, all right, so here are the ones we're going to do. That's it. So this is authentic of a conversation as you can have, just like that you do and you have with your friends when you're talking metal as well. I don't know. What do you guys think about Airbourne's most recent album? Maybe we should put a little snippet of this especially on the Facebook page. Give us your thoughts. Am I being a douche? I've been called worse. Or do I have a point here? Let us know your thoughts on the Facebook page. But either way, you should check it out. It is a good album worth listening to. And if you got a party, crank up some Airbourne for 55 minutes. You're all good. It's Breaking Out of Hell. Check it out. That was Unrelenting Force from Far Beyond, out of Germany. And I got to tell you, Far Beyond's one of the bands that I'd be lying if I said I got a lot into. And, Biv and I are friends outside of the podcast, have been for years. And he messaged me, he's like, dude, Far Beyond. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And we do that to each other a lot. We'll send each other like, dude, check these guys out if we haven't heard of them before. Maybe the person responds back going, yeah, I heard those guys years ago. That's just how it is. That's what you do with friends too. So he sends me Far Beyond. And I know Biv well enough to know usually what's kind of up his alley, in his pocket, so to say, and stuff that I'm like, yeah, Biv would hate this. And upon listening to Far Beyond, I was very surprised based on what I heard and based I know or what I thought I knew about Biv's musical tastes. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was right. I don't know. We're about to find out. Biv, what did you think of the new one from Far Beyond, my friend?
Well, when I was, how, and I don't even know where I picked this band up at. I really don't, because I use so many different resources to discover new music and new bands and things like that. But normally when I begin listening to a CD or the most popular tracks or whatever, as soon as I hear growling, stop. I mean, the second I hear it, I just can't even tolerate it. But for some reason, the music was so damn good that even though, like Evernight Part 1, which is the opening track, starts with growling vocals for probably, the first minute and a half?
Oh, at least, I think. Yeah.
At least. And I sat through it, and I continued to listen. And then I kind of fell in love with its very pace, its harmonic yet aggressive musical style. There was some growling throughout, more towards the beginning and more towards the end, but a little bit throughout. But it wasn't overdone. Great musicianship, and that's what drew me in. It was progressive. It showed elements of doom, of power, of epic metal, of harmonic metal, of black metal, of just about any genre you could think of, all in one song.
Oh yeah,
and it was done with a purpose. It wasn't like Dream Theater from Scenes of a Memory, and it was like, oh, let's do 62 time changes in 38 seconds and just to show you what we can do. It wasn't done like that. It was each part and segment was done with a purpose. A Frozen Flame of Ice was another of my favorites, which is the title track. It starts with this really eerie keyboard and guitar, and then goes into like this speed rhythm that really works. The vocals are a harsh barking, but yet it's very clean and understandable. Which has always been my biggest criticism about barking vocals. I'm like, I have no idea what this guy's saying. I really don't. But this guy I do. And then Unrelenting Force is just, even though there's quite a bit of growling on that track, the guitar is the best guitar work on the CD, I think, and probably my favorite song on the whole CD.
Yeah, mine too. It's an incredible track.
I absolutely love it. It is. And all of this entire thing, is done by one gentleman.
Yeah.
Which I find amazing. It's very reminiscent of like of a Matt Smith from Theocracy when he was kind of, piecing it all together. Well, this is a gentleman, which I hope I don't mispronounce this. I probably will. It's Eugen. Is it Dorenhoff?
I have it as Dodenhoff. I was wondering if it was Eugene.
Well,
because it looks like that without the E, but again, we're both from the States, and so I'm sure we're butchering a German name that we probably should know better than that. So if you're in Germany and listening to the show, help us out here.
Yeah, exactly. But props to Eugene or Eugen or whatever his name is. He did a phenomenal job. And apparently I did a little background on this guy. This is kind of his history. He doesn't really join bands, and anybody who's joined him to do like a couple studio sessions or even live sessions, it doesn't seem to last long. So I think this guy is kind of a loner musically.
Yeah, no,
which is interesting.
No, it gives me a very Nightingale, Edge of Sanity, like vibe there as far as a one-man wrecking crew doing the entire thing, But what's funny about Far Beyond for me is I know I shouldn't judge an album by its cover or even the name of a band or anything like that. But when I saw, the cover and the title of the album, I mean, Frozen Flame of Ice is the most, in my opinion, just cheesy sounding power metal album name you could ever have. So I'm thinking, okay, again, keep yourself in my perspective. Biv sends me a band to check out. The name of the album is A Frozen Flame of Ice. And I go, okay, and Biv's a power metal fan. So am I. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. But to me, I was just going, okay, well, clearly, this is a power metal band. And then you go to listen to it and you go, okay, not so much. And again, even looking at the cover of the album, you have a power metal font of Far Beyond. You have like this, dark, snowy mountain landscape on the front cover. Again, all of the things that you would think would be a power metal album. And yet, to me, there's very little of that on this. What I get a lot of is a lot of black metal riffing, especially. If you're an Ensiferum fan, which I'm not saying Ensiferum's black metal, but just very similar riffing. A lot of melodic death metal influence, at least in my opinion, as well. All throughout the album, and to your point, growled vocals, but clean vocals as well. And it also, 6, 7 tracks, and it's 52 minutes long. So,
6 tracks, yes.
Yeah, so you're talking, 8 to 9 minutes per track, which is also not that kind, power metal songs are never so it doesn't fit any of the stereotypes that you would think. So I guess the old saying of don't judge a book by its cover, well, don't judge an album, cover art, or even the band name or the album title based on what you think it may be, because had you done that and you're not a power metal fan, you would have went, next, and you'd be screwing that up here because, again, Evernight, 11-minute and 36-second song that kicks off the album, really solid. Again, to Biv's point, none of the songs have a consistency to them, and that's not a bad thing. Lots of time changes, lots of genres change between, the 3 to 4 minute mark in a track.